Hi, this is Bill Punch. This is one of a continuing set of videos to support Michigan State University's Introduction to Computer Science using Python CSE 231. This video will cover some of the basic math operations and show us some of the ins and outs of using math package. Let's get started. The math operators are pretty much as you would expect. For integers, we have plus for addition, minus for subtraction, star for multiplication, and slash for division, and they give us the results that you would expect to see. If I were to assign the variable myInt to the value 28, then if I add 5 to that, it's 33. If I take 12 away from it, that would be 16. Multiply it by 2, that would be 56. Divided by 2, that would be 14. Something that you should note, the result of every one of these operations, integer on integer, so 28 plus 5, 28 minus 12, 28 times 2, two integers yields an integer result, plus, minus, and times. But division, even though we were working with two integers, yielded a floating point result because we have a decimal point at the end. That's the way it is with division. Division always results in a floating point operation. There are two special operators. The double slash operator, which is to yield the integer part of division, and the percent operator, which yields the remainder. So if you think back long ago to those early days of grade school, this is the way they describe division to you. If you were to take 5 and divide it by 3, you'd say, well, I want to take one example of 3, subtract it with a remainder of 2. How many times does 3 to go into 2? It doesn't. So the answer was 1 with a remainder of 2. So the double slash operator gives you the 1, and the percent sign gives you the 2, the integer remainder. So if I say, what is the integer remainder of 5 by 3? It's the integer 1. What's the remainder of 5 divided by 3? The integer 2. Floating point operations are not very surprising either. It's still the same, plus, minus, times, and slash. So 13.4 divided by 2 gives us a floating point result, 1.57. 100.123 minus 3.5, 96.623. 27.5 times 3.14 gives us a very strange result, and something that we have to remember. Floating point operations are approximate, right? Integer operations are exact. Floating point operations are approximate. If you were to do this on a good calculator or by yourself, you would see the result is 86.35 because of the approximate nature of floating point. We get this little extra thing at the end. Same with division. If we were to take 2 and divide it by 3 as integers, we'd get 66666 as just an approximation because this would be an infinite sequence. Can't actually represent it exactly. What happens if we mix types? At this point, what we've done is an integer on an integer operation and a floating point on a floating point operation. What happens if you encounter an operation like this, an integer plus a floating point operation? Python, at this point, really only knows how to work on two of the same types. So when it encounters an operation like this, it makes a decision. It has to change one of those numbers to a different type so it can perform the operation. The right way to do it is to promote the integer 3 from the integer 3 to the floating point value 3.0. They represent the same value except different types. When Python automatically promotes this to 3.0, you can then add 3.0 plus 5.5 and get the correct answer. And that's exactly what happened. If I add these two things together, I get the floating point result, 8.5. This is really the result of a floating point promotion and then actually the addition of those two floating point values. Python does that for you automatically. Order of operations are those that you've probably encountered in your previous math experience. Parenthetical expressions always have the highest priority. Multiplication and division have priority over addition, and otherwise evaluation proceeds from left to right. So using those rules, If we do this operation, 5 times 2 has priority. It gets performed first, and then that result is added to 3, which gives us 13. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 3, 13. If we parenthetically group the 3 and 5, we perform that operation first. That would then be 8 times 2, which would give us the value 16. One of the most useful things about Python are the large number of modules that it provides. Modules are extensions to Python, basically files that we can pull in and use associated new variables, new operators, and new functions to solve more complicated problems. The first module that we'll see is called the Math module. It provides some support for higher level math operations like trigonomic operations and things like that. If we'd like to use these operations, then what we have to first do is we have to use the import operation to import the package into our program so that we can use all those definitions. When we import a package, we are essentially saying that, as we say here, we want to use stuff in math, and the way we talk about it is that we say in the math package dot. We want to use the power function. The power function takes a value and raises it to a power 10 to the power of 2. So we can do that, and 10 to the power of 2 is 100. There's also a variable called math.py, 3.14159, so on and so forth. In fact, there's a lot of stuff in math, and what we can do is put a dot and a tab in Python, both in idle and in every other editor. Gives you a list of all the objects that are in Python's math module that we could take advantage of if we wanted to use it. So for example, we can pick the log function. When we hit the parentheses, it prompts us to say, well, these are the arguments that the log function might take, so it can remind us how they work, and we can perform the operation and get a value back. We'll be using lots of modules as we go through here, so this will be our first module. Finally, let me tell you about one kind of odd thing for printing strings. If a string gets very, very long, it can be difficult to sort of fit within 80 characters. Python provides a special operator called the continuation character, or this slash operator. If we join two elements together with the slash, then Python treats this 2 lines as if they were actually one. So when I print this operation, you'll see I'll get one long string. Python essentially took the slash there as a continuation character, put the whole string together.